This is James Fox with a video tutorial from freequickbookslessons.com. This tutorial is going to show you how to create a new company file in QuickBooks Pro 2013. The steps are pretty similar for previous versions, but we're going to be using Pro 2013 in this tutorial. Now, assuming that you have already installed QuickBooks Pro onto your computer, simply double-click the icon and you should see this screen appear. Alternatively, if you do not see this screen, you can simply click here on Create a New Company, or you can go to File, New Company. Either way, it's going to bring you to this screen. Now, as you can see, there are a couple of options. The first option is Express Start or Advanced Setup. There are also other options that you can use, such as opening an existing file and converting quicking data, but we're simply going to start from scratch, and we're going to choose Advanced Setup over Express Start. The reason why I'm choosing Advanced Setup is because there are some features that I want to review during the setup process and explain them to you as I go. So let's click on Advanced Setup. Now the first screen that you'll see is entering in the company information. We're going to enter the company name, legal name, tax ID, address, email address, and website. If you don't have a website, obviously that's optional. You can maybe do that later. The name of our fictional company that we're creating is called Joe's Landscaping. A tax ID number is 9 digits long, and that's something that you will receive from the federal government if you apply to receive a tax ID. If you are a sole proprietor, then your tax ID can be your Social Security number. Next, we're going to enter in the address. And the phone number. Now, after you've entered in all of the information, click Next. Now we're going to select what type of industry we will be working in. Now, our fictional company is a landscaping company, so we're going to look for lawn care or landscaping. Select that and click Next. You may be working in a different industry. Just simply locate your industry, select it, and click Next. Now, here's something that's very important. How will your company be organized? Are you a sole proprietor, partnership, an LLC, a corporation, etc.? Joe's Landscaping is going to be set up as a single-member LLC. There are single-member LLCs and there are multi-member LLCs. The main difference between the two is that primarily with a multi-member LLC, you're going to be filling out a different tax form because everyone who's a member of the LLC will claim the income or losses on their personal tax returns. Now, you must figure out how you're going to organize your company. You may be a sole proprietor or partnership, etc. So determine how you're going to organize your company, select that option, and then click Next. Now we're going to select the first month of our fiscal year. A fiscal year is simply a period in which a company uses for accounting purposes and for creating financial statements. Now, most companies will use a fiscal period that runs from January through December. So our fiscal year is going to start in January. Now, we can set up an administrative password, but I'm not going to do that because I will be uploading some files for everyone to download for future lessons so that you can follow along accurately. But if you want to add an administrative password here, you can. If not, simply click Next. Now we're going to select a location to create our company file. So click Next. You should locate the Intuit folder on your computer and save the company file in the Intuit Company Files folder. Once you have done that, click Save. And now it's creating the company file. Okay, now the company file has been created, and you can see the taskbar on the left, which is the default location of the taskbar. Here's where we're going to start customizing QuickBooks for our business. QuickBooks is going to ask us a series of questions, and this is why I wanted to do the advanced setup versus the express install. So click on Next. The first thing they're going to ask us is, what do we sell? Do we only offer services, or do we only offer products, or do we offer services and products? Our fictional company of Joe's Landscaping will be offering services and products. So choose your option and click Next. Do we charge sales tax? Of course, we do charge sales tax because we will be selling tangible products. Some states do not charge sales tax on services, so it just depends upon where you're located and what you're offering. So determine that and decide whether or not if you're going to be charging sales tax. But for our fictional company, we will be charging sales tax. Now, do we want to create estimates in QuickBooks? For our industry, for Joe's Landscaping, we will be creating estimates. This is going to be determined by what type of industry you are working in. Joe's Landscaping will be bidding on various jobs for various customers. So we do want to have the ability to create estimates in QuickBooks. Now, do you want to use statements? Joe's Landscaping will be using statements. And if you do not know what a statement is simply a list of invoices in a given month, whether they're paid or not. For example, if you issue 3 invoices to one of your customers for the month of January, then at the end of January or towards the beginning of February, you are going to run a statement report which shows the amount of invoices that you sent to that customer in January. It will also show any outstanding invoices that may not have been paid prior to the month of January. So a statement is basically a list of invoices that you have given to your customer. And I do recommend that you create statements, so click Yes and move forward. Now, do you want to manage the bills you owe? Absolutely. We are going to have vendors. We're going to owe people money. So we do want to manage and keep track of the bills that we owe. So select Yes and click Next. Will you be tracking inventory in QuickBooks? For our fictional company, Joe's Landscaping, we will be tracking inventory. Once again, this depends upon which type of industry you are in. If you're in a service-oriented industry, then more than likely you won't have any inventory. But Joe's Landscaping will have inventory, so we're going to select Yes and then click Next. Now, do you want to keep track of time in QuickBooks? A good example of this is drive time. For example, if it takes you 30 minutes to get to a client's location and you want to charge that client for the time it took you to get to their location, this is what this can be used for. It can also be used to pay hourly employees and contractors. Now, we will be keeping track of our time, so I'm going to select Yes and click Next. Do you have any employees? On the first day of business, Joe's Landscaping will not have employees, but eventually we are going to hire some employees and we will be using 1099 contractors. So I'm going to select Yes and then select both of these options and click Next. Now, QuickBooks is going to help us set up a chart of accounts. Now, if you don't know what a chart of account is, I have a pretty good explanation here on the website, which is lesson number 1-7, and I'll be going over this in depth when I come to that lesson. So it says here that a chart of accounts is a list of all accounts a company uses to keep track of business transactions. So let's relate this to your daily activities. For example, if you received your paycheck today and you want to keep track of where your money is spent, you would keep track of where your money is spent by putting the expenses into accounts. So if you went to the movies, to the zoo, or to a concert, and you spent $100 on all of that, then you would say, okay, I spent $100 on entertainment, and entertainment is the name of the account. If you go to the grocery store and purchase bread, milk, and eggs, you wouldn't write down each individual item. You would simply create an account called food and allocate the amount of money that you spent for food to that account. Now, a business is going to do the same thing. They're going to create accounts to track their expenses and income, and then they're going to allocate the money that was spent or earned to those various accounts. But like I said, I do have a pretty detailed explanation on the website if you do want to review that. And we're going to set up our chart of accounts. Click Next. And we're going to start keeping track of our finances at the beginning of our fiscal year, which is on January 1. So click Next. Now here is the list of the chart of accounts. And as I said a moment ago, a business is going to keep track of where their income comes from and how their money is spent. For example, Joe's Landscaping may be doing maintenance services. That is a type of income that we're going to keep track of. An example of an expense account is auto and truck expense. Obviously, if we're in the landscaping business, we're going to be traveling from place to place with our equipment, and we're going to be spending money on gas and maintenance, etc. So auto and truck expense is a type of expense account. Another example of an expense account is an insurance expense. Joe's Landscaping has to have liability insurance, so this is another type of an account that we have to keep track of when we pay our insurance. So those are some examples. Now I'm going to select all of these accounts, but you don't have to. It simply depends on your business practices. Once you have made your selections, click Next. Now we've completed the Easy Setup interview. Now we can go to Setup. Now here's where it's going to ask us if we want to enter in our vendors, the products, and add bank accounts. I'm not going to do that at this point. I'm going to cover these options in later lessons, and I'm just simply going to click Start Working so that you can see the QuickBooks home page once you have finished your setup. The Quick Start Center window appears. I'm just going to close that out. So now you have set up your new company in QuickBooks Pro 2013. If you have any questions, please contact me via the website. Once again, my name is James Fox, and I'll see you next time.